with momentum as you go up these break points, would you agree that when all of a sudden you're managing 2,500 doors, you're pretty successful at what you're doing? I started this business, I think Natalie and I, Grant and Elena sat down, and in June of 2019, we started our Cardinal Ventures business. And I'll just tell you, I said, we'll do 3 million in the first year. In the 5th year, we'll be at $125 million. And we're gonna do it from scratch using the same principles. We're not gonna take on any debt. We're not gonna raise any capital, none of that stuff. Same thing we teach every day. And so we just are ending our 3rd year. So we started in Breakpoint 1, 0. We are ending our 3rd year at $80 million in revenue. And based on our 90-day run rate, we'll be at 140 to 150 million next year. Now, I tell you this not because I'm bragging to you. I'm telling you this because it just shows how much opportunity there is that can be created so fast. And what I love about working with business partners who can 10x our mindset, because no matter how big I was thinking or Natalie was thinking when we sat down with Grant and Elena and we laid out our projections, he's like, dude, why are we going to 125 million? Like, if we can get there in 5 years, let's go to 10 billion in 10. And it really takes someone to stretch your thinking so that you can create room for not only yourself, expansion, but for the people around you. And I can have the confidence, 100% confidence in business. We've been doing thousands of business owners. Many of you, I look around and I see you in this room. But what I did is I went backwards after I met with Grant, Elena, and Natalie and I went home and we were talking about it and all the stuff I learned at this real estate program. And I went home and I created my own Breakpoint Slides for real estate. Can you pull up the Breakpoint Slides for real estate? And I started trying to understand, okay, I've got this money. I'm gonna go build a huge portfolio. And sitting there, I go back and look at what we pay for our debt. I go look at what we are paying for our management company. I go look at what we're paying for all the fixed cost maintenance and all the things that had to do with the facilities that we own. And I realized that by myself, it's gonna take a long time to build and amass enough momentum, enough leverage, just like in business, enough synergies, enough leadership to build a huge real estate portfolio. And so when I reverse engineered it, I'm like, if I want to have an income of 100,000 to 3 million, I need on average between 6 and 170 doors. And I'm running around looking at things that have 15, 12, 25, and I'm asking myself, why am I looking at things that are so small? And you know what it was? I had to come to the realization that despite my other successes, the reason I was looking at doing things small is because I actually didn't have the confidence and I knew how to do it right. Does that make sense to you? So I was keeping myself small because I was out of my lane. And all of a sudden I go to the real estate event and I'm listening to Grant. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting in the same energy, the same effort, all the same conversations, scouring deals, showing up at places, in negotiations. And it's the same in business. I just didn't draw. You would think that with all my experience, I would draw those parallels, that why waste your time on things that are small that are gonna consume you versus put your energy on things that are bigger that will allow you to propel you. Would you agree to that? Who wants to be propelled? If you want to be propelled, I want to hear a 10X. That's right. So look, I had never worked with anyone. I thought I was methodical in business, but I promise you, I've never worked with anybody in business, in real estate, or in life that is more intentional about putting each single step of what a successful future looks like. Personal future, professional future, financial future. And the thing that most impressed me the first time I ever saw, because I didn't know what to expect with going to GrowthCon, I'd never met Grant or Elena. If it wasn't for Natalie, we wouldn't even have met him, because the first YouTube video she showed me of Grant as a traditional business owner was a guy running across in front of his plane with his hat on sideways with a money gun going, "It's Grant Cardone." Yeah, anybody ever see that video? Yeah. How many of you, when you saw your first video of Grant Cardone, you're like, who the hell is that? Let's be honest. There you go, and yet we're all here, aren't we? He knows something that we don't know. So look, so intentional to, on a granular basis, to put step by step by step. Now think about this. If you look at this 0 to 170 doors, Grant started with his first deal being really super small. And then he started gaining momentum and paying attention and applying his brain power and his superpower to the step-by-step process. And just like everything, I've worked with the guy for 3.5 years. Everything he does, he's so methodical. It's like, what agreement did I use? What contract did I use? How did I negotiate the debt? Who did I call? What did I say? What did they say? What did I say to them? How did I go back to the sellers? How do I renegotiate deals? How do I find better deals? How do I operate the deals? How do I onboard the deals? How do I build the teams to run the deals? And so with momentum, as you go up these breakpoints, would you agree that when all of a sudden you're managing 2,500 doors, you're pretty successful at what you're doing? Anybody here have 2,500 doors? So there's in part of our real estate club. Who here has between 6 and 170 doors? Raise your hand. Anybody 450 doors? Congratulations, 850. Good job. 1,400? Come on, don't be shy. Yeah, we can't see. Raise your hands. Again, 1,400. Raise your hands high. Be proud. There you go. It's my pleasure to get to introduce our business partner, Natalie's and my business partner, because here's the one thing I know. This guy methodically tracks by graphing every single mechanism that he can. And when he finds something better, he pulls out the one that was a lesser impact and replaces it with the better impact. And if you need any validation to what we're gonna learn here, the guy's gone from the left side of this breakpoint slide, a few hundred doors, to 12,000, $4 billion portfolio. And I've watched him do that in the last 36 months, accelerate that and compound it. And I've also had the privilege of sitting next to him while he's negotiating deals. You know, the one thing I appreciate about Grant is when you see him, you might think the guy's a little aggressive. Who here thinks Grant Cardone's aggressive? Let's go, can I get a 10X?